What's good, y'all? It's Joe, and I'm coming back at you with another video. So this video is a story that I came across a few weeks back, and this one honestly gave me chills when I heard it, but it's honestly the truth, and it's it's a major life lesson that you take away from the story that I'm still incorporating in my life because it's a goal that I want to have as far as not letting my environment dictate how I feel because ultimately you want to remain in control of yourself and how you feel, right? As far as like your emotions, your thoughts, and everything. And for a lot of people, they've been trained like throughout their lives to basically react to their environment rather than respond. And being trained that way, you're essentially at the mercy of the events and the circumstances that unfold in your life rather than being the one in control. And of course, I'm striving every day to, because of course it's a lifelong journey. Like I'm training myself and growing, improving as a person. So I'm training myself to be in control of my life and to not be at to not be, directly influenced by environment, right? I want to be in control of my environment and my situation as opposed to the opposite, which is the case for most people. So this story that I'm about to share is super powerful, and I know it'll mean just as much to you as it did for me. So the story goes that there's a prisoner, right? He's in prison. Let's say, for the sake of this, we just say the prisoner's name is John, right? So John's in prison, and there's a warden at the facility. So the warden has been there for 30 years, and the warden is walking by, and so he stops John, and he looks at him, and he says, you know, the warden goes, I've been at this facility for over 30 years, and I've seen thousands of prisoners walk up and down the hallway through the facility, right? Go in and out of this place. And you're the only prisoner that I've ever seen always have a smile on his face. Why is that? And so John, of course, with a smile on his face, looks at the warden and replies, you know, in this case, John was wrongfully convicted, but he still has to serve his time. So John looks at the warden and goes, Warden, whether I like it or not, I have to be here. Whether I like it or not, I'm here. I'm here at the prison, and I'm going to be here for the foreseeable future. Now, with that being the case, I can either be happy about it or sad about it, and I choose to be happy. So you hear a story like that, and of course, it's unlikely for that to happen, right? Given that in that case, right, the warden saying that he's been there for 30 years and he's seen thousands, if not 10,000 of inmates throughout his years working there. And he's only come across John, who's always had a smile on his face the entire time. So obviously it's unlikely for something like that to happen. But if we were to put the average, anyone in John's position, right, we can agree that 99.9999% of people would be angry, frustrated, pissed, like all these things, right? All the negative emotions you could think of, right? Because of course, prison is not a desirable position or location for someone to be in, especially if you're someone that is innocent and didn't commit any sort of crime and was wrongfully, convicted and things like that. So it's unlikely, of course, to be happy or be smiling, right? Or be optimistic in a situation like that. But obviously, it is not impossible. And that's the point that I'm getting at, right? A situation like that where it appears to be undesirable, you can still be able to find happiness and joy in that situation. And although that might be one of the most extreme examples, that can still serve as a metaphor for everything else in life, right? Like, I'm sure for a lot of people who drive, right, like they've experienced situation where they've had flat tires, and I'm sure 99% of people get frustrated when something like that happens, right? Where you may have had plans and like a wrench was thrown in the plans, and then now you have this whole new quote unquote problem or situation that arises that like you now have to figure out. And so it just builds frustration. And you know, if we were to use a flat tire example, which is something I touched upon, several videos ago, you still can find joy in that situation because that flat tire could have been orchestrated so that it saves your life because it prevents you from going further down the road, which something strange could have happened. Or it could lead to you meeting someone on the road, whether it's like roadside assistance or like another driver who pulls over to help you, that could end up being a friend that is meant to be in your life, or a business partner, right? Like you just don't know. So even when things may seem bad, like they could end up being the biggest blessing in life. But just going back to the example that I presented earlier, the inmate John clearly was not going to let his environment affect him as a person or affect how he was feeling. Because like he mentioned, he's like, Warden, I'm here and I'm gonna be here. So whether I like it or not, I'm here. So it's just I can decide to either be happy about it or sad and frustrated about it. And in this case, he decided to be happy. And so, of course, him being happy, I'm sure it made the time go by faster and allowed it to be a more pleasurable experience. And so, if we just tie that to our lives, right? Whatever it is that we're experiencing in our life, we don't have to let it affect us negatively, right? We can still have a smile on our face and say, you know what? Everything's fine and everything's working itself out. Or like, I don't need to be worried about it. I don't need to be frustrated. I don't need to concern myself with it because I know that somehow, some way it'll work itself out. And you can genuinely believe that without having any sort of evidence, without having any signs pointing to that being true. You can still believe that because it's your belief that makes it so, right? It's your belief that creates the truth of your life. And we have the power that at any moment we could change our beliefs because we can change the way we think. So that was that story about John, in prison is like, that's just one of those like life-changing stories that you hear because it's 1000% true. It's unlikely that someone will be happy in a situation like that, but it's still possible. And that's the goal that I'm getting at, right? That you can still find joy regardless of everything else that's happening outside of you, because you control your thoughts. And with your thoughts, right, you're able to control your emotions and be able to steer yourself in the right direction, that like everything is working itself out, and that everything is going to be taken care of in due time. So hopefully you take that story with you, and hopefully that means the world to you as it did to me when I first heard it. If you enjoyed this video, do leave a like, comment down below any thoughts you may have, subscribe to the channel. I'm posting more content. I'm be rolling out different things, and obviously I want engagement from you guys in the comment section below, because I do touch upon a lot of like life stories and of course things that happen in my life, but I also do want to touch upon this, obviously any interesting stories or like topics that you guys have. I'm certainly open to talking about that and giving my opinion, hopefully providing you with guidance on that. So turn on post notifications and do share this video with anyone who you think would benefit from this. Once again, this is Joel, and I'm out. See you guys for the next video.